This morning on the Sunday Footy Show, the mighty Hawks left their best footy until last in a grand final to remember.
Now he's got the crown. Franklin didn't take the mark, but all's well that ends well.
And after 305 games, Crawford finally got to live out his dreams.
That's what I'm talking about!
We'll take you through all the big moments of that last Saturday in September. And don't forget the big one, the grand final of Lou's Handball, as two Tigers battle it out for the cash. All that and more this morning on the Sunday Footy Show.
Yes, a very good morning and welcome to this grand final edition of the Sunday Footy Show. If we cast our minds back 2 weeks ago, Billy, we were saying this.
Then there were 4, Tony.
And then last week we were saying this.
Then there were 2.
And this week we're saying...
There's bloody 1.
But it's not the one Billy was hoping for, that's for sure. As we check the score, if you haven't seen it already, this will be just dreamtime stuff for the Hawthorn Footy Club. 18-7, 115, defeating your Cats, Billy.
Yep.
11-23, 89. And this is something that you may not have seen if you had been watching the telecast on Channel 7 yesterday, because they cut out before we could actually get to see this. Yes, not so much a circle, more of like a figure 8 there, wasn't it? They had to fit so many people in there. Let's welcome the panel. We've already met him this morning, but officially William Anthony.
Congratulations to the Hawthorn Football Club. Best team on the day. Well done to Clarko and all his boys.
Well, Anthony William, I think it is officially,
It's
isn't
Anthony
it?
William, yeah.
It is. Mark, now, actually, this is a very sad occasion, folks, because, as you would have known through the week, Mark Bickley has delved into the coaching ranks and is now an assistant coach with the Adelaide Crows, or he will be very shortly. So this is the very last show for Mark Bickley on the Sunday Footy Show after how many years?
5 years, Tony. I've said with such sincerity.
No, I wouldn't have thought it's that.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, you blokes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Final phrase from Shane Crawford, but happy to not happy to leave, but yeah, it's good to be.
Well, it's okay because we haven't wasted any time. We've found your replacement, Big. Someone, a South Australian legend, and says as much as what you have on the 5 years of the show. So there is the pass that down with.
Yes. Congratulations, Vic. Actually, Humphrey will give us an earache next year. he'll talk that much. I'll tell you what, sitting Humphrey next to Spud, that's chalk and cheese. The talking machine.
Exactly.
What have you been doing all
Just
week?
a human talking machine. Will you ever shut up?
What about you this week?
Every week, everywhere I go in grand final week, Spud's he's up there on stage doing this one.
Yeah, he is too.
You're like a dag on sheep's backside, BT. Everywhere I go, you're there. But
Anyway,
great win time, wasn't it?
It was, Dan, yes. It was a fantastic win, as a matter of fact. And, the celebrations and the reaction at the final siren said it all, didn't it?
Yep, it did. Shane Crawford absolutely elated with what he had stumbled into. A grand final, a premiership, I think the most amount of games of any footballer ever in the history. But, you know, to get hold of a premiership cup, amazing. 305, in fact. And what was it, 17 or 19 years or something like that?
The longest wait, Brian, to get to a premiership. Yeah.
Oh, Mitch.
Yeah, no, amazing scenes. You see all the guys that didn't play a part in the actual game, all the seconds players out there.
That was the thing I picked up on, the fact that all the players that didn't play, Bill, they were first out there.
I haven't seen that before.
That was
And they were
magnificent
first out.
emotion.
Yeah, they were.
The coach took a while to come out. I was waiting for Alastair
Well, he
to
was
come out.
celebrating with his team in the box, as you'd do, as a group, because that group would be pretty close together.
And Alastair Clarkson will actually be joining us here in this very spot in about 20 minutes from now.
Great story, though, isn't it, Alastair Clarkson? 4 years ago, there was
There was a few people potting him.
Well, there was, and hopefully a few of them are eating humble pie time. But the boy from Conniva, what a great story.
Yeah.
4 years in the making and was under the pump in the first couple of years of his coaching career.
and now he's a Jock McHale medalist. Magnificent story.
Here he is here, and this is what it's all about, isn't it? And the players, Shane Crawford tried to get up there very quickly, didn't he, Brian?
He was first up, but he was right at the push right to the back. he wanted the front row. He eventually works his way to the front. You'll see him come through. There he is, sticking his head through on the left of picture there. But Sam Mitchell, the captain, and of course Hodge, the Norm Smith medalist. Fantastic result for both of those guys and their team.
Luke Hodge is almost a silent captain, isn't he?
He is the captain.
Some teams have spiritual leaders, and you'd almost say he was that. He embodied the way they played yesterday. Went in under an injury cloud, put his body on the line like he's done throughout the year, and he was outstanding.
And it's been a week for the #1 draft picks. Adam Kearney, #1 draft pick in 2003, Brownlow medalist, and Luke Hodge, 2001, #1 draft pick, now Norm Smith medalist.
We always knew it was going to be a celebration no matter what. We had 2 Victorian teams, the first since 2000. Look at these scenes at Federation Square last night as the faithful came from everywhere to celebrate. And, well, in many ways, we talk about Shane Crawford, and we'll talk about him more in just a tick, but he is very much the story of this grand final win. But there's Buddy and the gang, and it's terrific stuff, isn't it?
So that was the Federation Square.
Yeah.
Will they be presented at Glenferrie Road today as well, will they?
Yes.
They're presented at 3 o'clock, I think. But we did this last year, and all the players all meet out the back. There's Dipper, of course, very happy. Look at Buddy going present.
Buddy's going off.
No, I think Buddy's trying to get Dipper out of the way.
And it is feeding and chock-a-block of supporters standing ashore with the cup there. It is a great feeling, this. The roar just goes on and on. It would have been a big one for Shane Crawford. And then, of course, they are presented today at Glenferrie Oval, which will be a big day for them.
And after there, they went to Crown Casino. So it's going to be a week-long celebration. And then, I guess, at some point, because their spiritual home still is very much Glenferrie Oval, as you say, and the city of Hawthorn, and they'll probably end up at the Hawthorn Town Hall as they did back in the glory days of the 80s and the early 90s.
Great result. First since 1991.
The thing about the team too, Tone, the fact is there's only one player in that team that's been traded. They have grown their own. They've grown their
What are you
list.
saying? They've drafted their...
They've drafted all those picks. Trent Crade's the only player that's been traded. He was originally a Hawthorn player. They then got Luke Hodge. Trent Crade was then traded back to Hawthorn. It's an amazing story.
So where on those guys came through the draft?
Geelong?
Through the draft. Through the draft. You got to listen at Port.
The other really interesting thing is we're talking about some longevity here. They're the 3rd youngest list in the competition today. So, there's still some players outside that team who can come in and have some improvement.
But having said all that about Hawthorn, Geelong at this stage, I reckon, still have got a couple of opportunities to play in grand finals ahead of them.
Oh, you'd think so. They're still a young group. The oldest players, Milburn and Harley. But they didn't grab the opportunity, simple as that. And you can just see Hawthorn, they're going to improve. They're going to get better, you would have thought.
Are you surprised? We're going to talk about Shane Crawford in just a tick. Do you think Hawthorn achieved it maybe a year or two before most people thought they would have?
I reckon they got there a year early. I reckon, they would have probably accepted a defeat this year, and knowing that, as Sputters just alluded to, they've got good 4 or 5 years in front of them. Perhaps a year early, but it just does show you how brittle it can be at the top. Geelong dominated the last 2 years, basically, and all of a sudden they've missed this golden opportunity. They're probably only going to get 3 or 4 cracks at it.
They've been the best team, haven't they? They've been the best team for 2 years, and they're not the best team on the day.
That's
You're right.
That's
They
what
lost
it boils
the one
down
game,
to.
Bill,
Yeah.
and they've lost their second game on the biggest stage. And Hawthorn, for mine, you're right, BT, a little bit before their time, but they believed at half-time they were level with Geelong. They had the running power to outstay Geelong because of what Bix talked about, the younger legs, and a very hot day.
As I said earlier, it was very much, not the Shane Crawford show, because he wouldn't like it to be referred to as that, but he was very much the story of the day, given the longevity of the man and all the rest of it. He'll decide once the celebrations die down whether he'll play on or not. What's your gut feeling, Brian?
My gut feeling right at the moment is that it's very nice to finish in this way, and I reckon not so much his ball-getting ability, but his injuries are probably going to stop him going on, I think.
In saying that, BT, his form...
Have a listen to this. That's what I'm talking about.
Where is that from? Can someone just phone in and tell us where that actual saying is from?
Actually, is it from a movie or something like
It's
that?
from a movie.
It's from a movie, is it?
Definitely.
But, he was very good, wasn't he? He had 25 possessions and was one of the better players without doubt.
In the third quarter, Bill, particularly when they needed him.
And Brian, I think you gave him 3rd best on ground in your role as a judge for the Norm Smith medal.
Well, he had
very impressed.
He had 27 disposed, and I thought in that crucial third quarter when it was either going to be won or lost for the Hawks, that he really stepped to the plate. And early in the game, he dominated as well.
Yeah.
Very good player.
And left the ground with an injury too.
Yep.
What happened to him?
Crowd got him.
Did he? Yeah.
With the crutches.
After the game, that's right.
Yeah, he did. He went and gave him the big hug. There it is there. And unfortunately for Crawford, one of the crutches that Trent Crode was brandishing copped him across the head.
Is that why he had that cut
Yeah,
there?
there it is there.
Where did he get it? No, he might have headbutted him.
No, I think the crutches got him. Anyway, something got him. Quite clearly something got him, but the blood rule was inconsequential on that occasion there. Norm Smith medalist Luke Hodge. Brian, you were on the voting panel. You gave him your 3.
Yeah, look, he was great. Think back to the week before and the courage that it took to get up, you know, sore in the guts and the rib area, and goes out there without any respect for his body at all, happy to open his ribs up to anyone that wanted to come. His attack on the ball, a lot of things he did that weren't on the stat sheet, stuff like that, knocking the ball to the boundary, getting it into a dead situation. He was incredibly good yesterday.
He's set the benchmark now for someone who's playing on the half-back line. The centre bounces, BT, we called the game yesterday, stands 30 metres out from the opposition goal, and now the opposition have to plan an attack around Luke Hodge. As you said, his ball-winning ability is sensational, but his ability to read the ball.
But also the penetration. He kicks it like no one else. We saw a 40-metre handball. He just cuts through the opposition beautifully.
Oh, what happened there in the background? Just on the Norm Smith, before we go to that, well, let's just stand by. That is quite funny. Gary Ablett, could he have won it? This is the only thing I'll say about Geelong because it's Hawthorn's day.
I reckon if they'd won, he probably would have won it.
Lee Matthews didn't give him a vote. Not one vote. 3, 2 or 1.
Sometimes coaches see it from a different perspective.
He was sensational, Gary. He was the one that actually put his hand up and said, I want to win this. Go to that very funny bit there, Tone.
Tony Shaw. Tony Shaw, never in his stellar career did he take a dive, but he did on the MCG yesterday.
Got a little the ginger as he's going. I reckon that's a great save because he was gone for all money. He was going to be falling on his backside. And the other thing, Craig must get out a shot more often if he could. But,
come on. Actually, Craig Willis does a very good job as the master of ceremonies.
Excellent job. Just needs to get out of the back.
No, but hang on. He can only stand where the microphone is, Brian.
No. As an MC, you move to one side, Tony. You know that. You're a professional one.
Yes, but he is front and centre there
Don't
with the
turn this
microphone.
into Craig's show, but I was only making a small comment.
Well, apologise to Craig.
No apologies, Craig.
You want his job, don't you?
Jeez, it's a battle in the
He does a
MCs.
great job.
He does do a very
Luke
good job.
Hodge is the third number 1 draft pick to play in a premiership. Who are the other 2?
Drew Banfield was one, and maybe the gentleman from Brisbane. Des Headland, yes.
Very good.
Spud's got his quiz going.
He has too. Was there a prize for that?
Not at all.
Hey, ring in now.
All I'm saying is that
You're a statistical nightmare.
No, but we carry on as media commentators between June, July and August about tanking. The number 1 draft pick is sensational, but the facts are the draft's been in 23 years and 3 number 1 draft picks are played in a flag. We carry on sometimes, Brian, in June, July, when you get a little bit tired and angry. Let's talk about tanking.
You don't have to wait until June, July. He kicks off in January. but Billy, let's talk about Geelong now. I know you don't particularly want to, but what went wrong? How can a club go into the most important game of the season having lost only 1 throughout the season?
What went wrong was they were very good down back.
Was there complacency there?
No, I don't think there was. And we got to mention the pressure from Hawthorn was sensational for the whole day, and they did it very well. But I reckon they won down back. I reckon they probably won on ball, and they were let down up forward. There's no doubt about that. When you go forward inside 50 62 times and you kick 11 goals and you miss goals, it's just they had 34 scoring shots at 25, and also if you miss goals that you should kick. And here they are here. Gary Ablett very disappointed, mate. He was upset. Tom Harley wasn't sure where he was actually at this time. This is when the Norm Smith was announced. Bomber Thompson there just consoling Gary. He's had a bad week, Gary. He's just missed out in the Brownlow. He's just missed out in the Norm Smith, and he's just missed out in a premiership.
Bill, we'll have a look at the misses later shortly, but the facts are in the first half, Geelong had 41 possessions inside their forward 50 compared to Hawthorn's 14.
Yeah.
Yet they were behind. Did they overuse the ball in the forward half?
Well, they do muck around with it. They do lair eyes. They have done it, but they get away with it against the sides that aren't as good.
Billy, let's be specific. Who let you down?
Well, you got to say the forwards that miss goals.
Give us some names.
Well, we'll see them here. But there's a package here. Look, you win as a team, you lose as a team. So it's not a spot where you can go out and pot blokes because it's not the right thing to do.
They kicked 1 goal, 14.
I know. Well, here's one here. Chapman there, right?
From the
Look
start-
at Steve Johnson there with the arms out. What about me?
Bill, but hang on, just don't worry about it. From the start of the second quarter...
Stokes misses that, Brian.
Yeah.
Well, they were easy misses, mate. I don't know what... Mooney, how could he miss that? He'd have another 10
Too
shots
close to
there.
man the mark there,
And he
Bill.
tried to kick the crap out of it. But, mate, Mooney misses this one, hits the post. You know, you needed that goal. Now, I don't know why or how, but you miss these things. And if, as they say in cricket, drop catches, lose matches. Well, missed goals...
Missed
Just
opportunity.
haven't got a rhyme
because the
for it.
midfield were on top, and you could just sense the body language was those amount of misses. You could see the midfield the shoulders start to something. Hang on, we're getting the ball in there,
that's
boys.
right.
Seal the deal.
And you know what else happens? Hawthorn go, hang on, we're a chance here. And then the whole 22 get going, and they knew they were in it.
Tell you what I saw yesterday in Geelong for the first time since this sort of era has been going.
Yeah.
They give the ball so much in the forward line, I reckon they overdo it sometimes.
Yeah.
Yesterday, under the pressures of a grand final, guess what? They forgot to give it when they should have.
Yeah.
Or in other words, they became a little selfish at times. And that's a tough thing to say about Geelong, who have been quite the opposite.
Yeah, they have.
But yesterday, there were 4 or 5 examples you see here where they should have just given the ball out and they did
To the
not give
right.
it.
Look at the free players to the right of screen.
Mate, and you're spot on, Brian. And you're exactly right. They've been the most unselfish side all year.
Yep.
But yesterday there were a couple of signs.
That's what the scoreboard pressure does to you.
Yeah.
And that's what also winning a premiership, I reckon, can do to you. You win a premiership, all of a sudden, that second and third attempt at it, does it become a little bit more about yourself than the team? I don't know.
Well,
it's a very fine
why
thing.
would you only do it one game and not the other 24 that they
Well, the
played?
pressure of the grand final and the pressure of the scoreboard, I reckon.
The rush behinds played a significant role, and Brian, you know for a fact, as we do, that the Commission will actually address this matter because they've just about had a gutful.
On the back of this yesterday, I reckon they'd now be wanting to address this situation of conceding behinds like that, stopping it happen. I think the easiest way to do it, a lot of people are saying award 3 points as we've done in the night premiership, the NAB Cup. I don't reckon that's the answer. Why change the scoring? I reckon it's simple. Put a dot about 25, 30 metres out from the goal, ball the ball up. There's no point awarded for rush behind.
No point at all.
No point awarded. You just simply go and you bounce the ball 30 metres out from goal and up it goes and any team's chance to get it.
I think well done, Hawthorn. If the rules are there to be exploited, exploit them, because the rush behind and then they get the ball in the hands of Brent Guerra, one of the best kicks in the competition. Instead of rushing a kick to a 50-50 inside your defensive 50, put it through for a point.
They did it beautifully.
And just soak the clock up, and then they hit targets and away they went.
Geelong had 23 behinds. How many of those were rushed? 11. Something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that was what also magnified the misses from Geelong, because every time it just gave it back to Hawthorn, who were just exemplary the way they took it out of the
Kept control. Guerra kicks it to another Hawthorn player in their way. They did it very well.
What we saw at quarter time was Bomber Thompson give Stokes a real spray. Now, during the telecast, Tim Watson was suggesting, probably quite rightly, I might say Channel 7, I know I had a crack at him at the start of the show for missing the song, and that was crazy. But they did do a pretty good job yesterday, 7, with the broadcast. But Tim Watson was saying that Bomber Thompson would have been saying to Stokes there, listen, I've taken a chance on you and you're not repaying me. Is that how you saw it?
No doubt. No, Stokes has been carrying a groin for 4 or 5 weeks. And it was a bit dicey. Will he play? And obviously they dropped Wojcinski.
Who was fit?
Who was fit.
Well,
but
why would you pick Stokes, who wasn't?
Because Stokes's been there the whole year and has credit on the board.
And he's proven over the last couple of weeks that he can play with
We're
that
all
injury.
wiser after hindsight, aren't we?
No, we all got PhDs in hindsight.
Okay.
Very nice.
But, hey, bringing Wojcinski in, by the way, wouldn't have changed the game too much. They needed a forward, really, when you look at it.
In the second half, though, the Cats did struggle for run. I think Wojcinski's run would
tell
have
you
helped
what,
a little bit.
It wouldn't have changed, Tone, and that is because the toughness of the Hawks.
Well, I
don't know
think this
whether-
was just going to bring that
Yeah.
up.
Exactly, and that was the difference. You look at some of these examples here, and there was some physical clashes, and you see Scarlett, who was good on Franklin yesterday, but the amount of the times when ball was in the balance, Hawthorn was really prepared to be almost reckless in the way they went at the footy. Luke Hodge did it a couple of times.
Remember at the start of the year, the first 6 weeks, they were absolutely relentless in attacking the ball on the ground. I reckon they rediscovered that over the last 4 or 5
That
weeks.
that
one there
tackle.
with Trent
Yeah.
Crode, Bill.
Look at
Trent
that.
Crode had broken his foot, but he still wanted to take
Yeah.
a Geelong player out before he went off the ground, BT.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
they
That was
physically
tough.
assaulted Geelong on every opportunity. We saw Gary Ablett there. He copped a couple of hits during the game and just really knew they were going to play.
They were
a game.
lower and harder. There was one particular incident we may see later on with Osborne went in hard and low and Hunt fell over the top of him and
Yeah.
Osborne won the free kick, which is fantastic.
It wasn't a free kick, by the way, but it was good work by Osborne.
Coming up a little later in the program, we'll be joined by the Premiership coach, Alastair Clarkson, who's in the studio now. Al, thanks for coming in, mate. And congratulations.
Billy boy, how are you,
Yeah,
champ?
great to see you, Al. Good on you. Knackers. Cheers. No, well done. Well done, boy.
Have you had a bottle of water in your hand all night, have you? Or?
Yeah, this is about 15th over about 3 hours.
Can we...
Trying to rehydrate.
We might have to go in a delay for Alastair, I think. Anyway, Alastair Clarkson will join us a little later on. Still plenty to talk about the injuries to Trent Crode in particular, and also Clinton Young.
Well, the Trent Crode one came at the early part of the game. We thought that was really going to have an effect, but they were so hard at it, as you see, trying to do some damage before he left the ground. But obviously they took a bit of a punt with him, and, you can't determine what's going to happen in a game, but in the end it probably didn't have an effect too much, although at the time we thought it was going to.
This one did.
And Young was best man on the ground until he went off, I thought.
Yeah.
He was fantastic.
Just his kicking and his carry was fantastic, and you just wondered whether down to 2 fit players on the bench, what impact that would have on a hot day. But they were able to get through that.
And Trent Crode apparently took no part in the celebrations last night. Went straight to hospital, which is almost a replica of 1989 in a lot of ways, isn't it?
Yeah, well, look, I think the coaching staff did really well. Campbell Brown played forward the last 5 weeks. Soon as Crode went off the ground, young Brownie's boy went back to the back line and did reasonably well.
One Geelong bloke certainly went down. That was Tom Harley. He had no idea where he was, boys. Have a look at this. Clash of heads, bang with Mark Williams. And if we have a look at it close up, he's actually talking to himself here. I don't know what he's saying. Mate, he was knocked out, went out, and they were really concerned when he had to go up after the game.
And it was right on half time, Bill, and he gets carried off here, then he walks to the race as if to go into the rooms for half time. Then he decides he's going to come back and address the players, and he was quite how would you say? Confused in his efforts to address the players.
Well, as I said, they were really concerned when he went up to just say, well done to the Hawks and things like that, what he was going to say.
He spoke well, though.
He was
The
out
doctors do a great job. Were you surprised he actually came on in the last quarter? He had all half time and then actually put him on.
Well, you know what players are
they
like.
want to get on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Control yourself, Spud. Control yourself. I want you to tell us about Cyril.
Well, he had the first 4 possessions he had, BT, were the best 4 possessions you've ever seen in a grand final. He had 10 or 11 touches, but the run and carry, it was great moving, it was great coaching to put Cyril up the ground because Corey Enright stayed back. He folded off Cyril and he set the game alight early, and his ball use and his ability just to read the ball, the bouncing ball is outstanding. Have a look at that. One step, lace out, mark to Campbell Brown. Absolutely unbelievable.
This next one, I think, coming up after this goal, I reckon it's one of the highlights of the grand final.
Defining moment.
I think the whole crowd, the 100,012 people, BT, stood as one. 3-on-1 here. Corey Enright, just the want, the desire. You've got Max Rook, tough.
Look at that.
There's Suriali tackling again. And he's still getting, he won the free kick.
And if you want some pure skill, look at this. Talk about have it on a yo-yo.
Like watching his uncles, BT, Michael Long and the great Morris Rioli.
Only had 10 possessions, but what a fantastic 10 possessions.
There was another player who was very impactful in the third quarter along with Rioli, and that was Stuart Dew. And every story, every grand final has amazing stories. And Stuart Dew yesterday, that was a very important mark there. He was surrounded by Geelong players. His ability by foot is just outstanding. And in the third quarter, he was moved up forward. We just saw this highlight there, but almost Darren Jarman-like on a couple of occasions. He was just able to turn onto that left foot.
He had a hand in 4 goals here, Bix, in this. But
the best 5 minutes.
Game over when Dew went forward.
Best 5 minutes of his life here. This was unbelievable. You just cannot tackle him. Look at this. It was 2-on-3 here. The catch had run out of the back line. And Williams and Stuart Dew were fantastic.
And you talk about impact players. This guy, I think, plays the least amount of game time of any Hawthorn player this year, but has an impact when he comes on in that. What does he play per quarter, you reckon, Spud? 7, 8, 9 minutes?
Yeah, about 60% of the game, which I think, as a bench player, impact player, that's good coaching and a great weapon to have. What about the kicking of Stuart Dew?
Pretty amazing story. To think that he's been out of footy for a year. We know the game moves on as quickly as ever over the last couple of years, and fair to say he needed a little bit of conditioning work when he came back, but just a lot of confidence shown in him by the coach.
Like all of us, didn't get any smaller towards the end of the year, though, did he?
No, exactly, Brian. Sam Mitchell, if you were to pick an incident that may come under the match review panel's scrutiny, you would probably look at this one, would you not?
Yeah, well, one of the things in grand finals, we know that the points are doubled, so it's not the time to get reported, but just a little bit inconclusive where the contact was made. But it was just, I think it summed up where Hawthorn were at. It was just putting it all on the line there. The ball was in the middle. And Ablett, to his credit, had his head over it.
And Sam Mitchell had a rough first half, hadn't he?
He was trying to make an impact.
And he was trying, as the captain of the side, to try and impose himself on the game, and he did, to his credit, Tony, in the second half, have an impact.
All right, so 10 out of 10 to Hawthorn. Geelong, no pass mark for you. What about the AFL with their pre-match entertainment? Now, every year we say, are they going to get it right?
Look at this
and
guy.
every
the
year...
drummers were good.
The drummers?
Oh, they're okay.
It's a bit of Beijing, wasn't it?
A bit of Beijing. Have a look at this drummer in a minute. He breaks his drumstick. Look at that. There it goes.
Well,
Oh, that's all right.
no, but hang on a minute. I mean, and look at these girls. They're tied to the roof, right? I can understand that. But how many people at the ground actually saw that? I like the mural, the Jamie Cooper mural. There's Jason McCartney there. That was good. But I just can't understand. The parade of retiring champions was back. That was fine.
Beautiful in the Toyota
I don't
Hiluxes.
know if we needed the Olympians there. But for the AFL, an organisation that gets it so right so often...
This was the highlight.
Powderfinger.
Powderfinger, they were fantastic.
Well,
crowd love. I reckon they should have just let them go for 20 minutes.
But this was the worst thing I've seen. If that was the zinger that we'd been promised all through the week...
I thought that was all right.
Oh, Brian.
It would have worked better at night, but I liked it.
Mate, you do stuff like that on Guy
Come on,
Fawkes
BT,
night at the
tell the
farm.
truth. I'd just say pre-game.
Well, come on. How would you deliver the Premiership Cup?
Well, you're not going to like it. You know what I'd do? Move the game to night time and have full-on fireworks. If you're going to mess around with crackers...
So we moved the grand final just to get some fireworks.
Yeah, now that you put it like that, it was probably a silly thing to say. No, but I'm
the
all
game's
for...
about footy, not fireworks.
But why are we talking about the pre-match entertainment?
Because, you know, we were looking at the ways to improve it.
Well, maybe you could improve it, Brian. Maybe you could be part of the pre-match entertainment then.
That'd be good, yeah.
Well, it was a surprise.
Just you paid Powderfinger $1 million to come out here.
BT,
Let him
the
sing.
drummers before the game, I was surprised you weren't a part of the drumming. Have a look at the big bristle.
Look at him.
Have a look at the big bristle. We've got the pre-game.
There it is.
We've got Hawthorn v Geelong pre-game. BT on the drums. That is the pre-game. We're all over it.
But
Can
that's
I be
not...
your manager? Because they'll be giving you a ring, mate.
But that's not the first time you've done the drums on telly, is it?
That's the only time.
No, it's not. There you go.
This guy's a little bit slimmer.
He's all right.
He's got better rhythm than I have.
Wasn't Jason Dunstall?
All right, we're going to take a break on the Sunday Footy Show. Ringo and the boys will be back a little later on. So will the Premiership coach. Does it sound good, Alastair, saying that? The Premiership coach, Alastair Clarkson, will be joining us right here on the Sunday Footy Show. Stay with us.
Golden brown, texture like sun, lays me down. With my mind she runs throughout the night. No need to fight, never a frown. With golden brown, every time just like the last. On her ship, tied to the mast, to distant lands, takes both my hands, never a frown with golden brown.
Yes, it'll be a while before Hawthorn fans get tired of seeing those scenes, that's for sure. The MCG yesterday afternoon. And I can tell you through the week, one man who said he would be here, win, lose or draw, is the Hawthorn coach, Alastair Clarkson. I think he's just grateful that he's here as the Premiership coach, Alastair Clarkson. Welcome, Alastair. Well, how much sleep have you had, first of all?
Yeah, not too bad. I've had 5 or 6 hours, so it's good. I'm not sure the players had the same amount of time. I don't know where they are and what they're doing at the minute, but they'll be ready for a bit of shadow, I reckon.
But is it hard to fathom the fact that you've actually bagged the premiership?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of hard work that goes into a football season, but you know, it's 4 years for us, and probably longer too. You know, we can't forget the contributions of a lot of people that set the club going back in the 96 era, where there's a possible merger, and Don Scott and Ian Dicker saving the footy club, and then you know, a lot of the players who actually played for our footy club. There's been a lot of talk about you know, the era that I've been involved in, but you know, Schwabby and Johnny Turnbull and Johnny Hook actually brought a lot of guys into the footy club, particularly in the 01 draft. And a lot of guys have actually emerged as players out of the rookie list too. You know, Campbell and Osborne and Sewell and those type of guys, just stellar players for us now that, yeah, we've coached them in the last 4 years, but they actually came into our footy club prior to our involvement there. So, you know, I got a lot of messages last week, but the most significant of which was a message from Peter Swab wishing us all the best. And he's just a high-quality fella, and some tough decisions needed to be made. And unfortunately, at that point in time, he's a casualty, but he's been a ripper for our footy club.
Do you think you're a year ahead of where your plans were by winning the premiership?
Yeah, we didn't anticipate that we'd be winning the flag in 2008. Having said that, we never really put a ceiling on our emergence as a side either. You know, that you just give young fellas an opportunity, and you only got to look at a young fella like Rioli and you know Birchall a couple of years before him have come into the club and done really well early. I mean, there's been a lot of talk of Franklin and Roughhead and Lewis who have started playing AFL footy more or less as soon as they were drafted. So you don't anticipate it's going to be so quick, because we'd modelled our club on a lot of other sides that had taken sort of 6 or 7 years to go through this process, of which the Geelong and St Kilda were two sides that we'd watched closely, as well as Port Adelaide. And yeah, so we're stoked that we're able to do it in the 4 years. But as I said earlier, it's probably been a bit longer than that. If you think back to the 2001 draft, really, the bulk of our side has come from that particular draft in terms of you know, providing us real stability.
Clarko, great story, boy from Conniva. But I think the players are more or less a reflection of the coach and the coaching staff. You're all played the game hard nuts. You're in and under, a feisty little fellow as you played. And I think the toughness that they showed yesterday, especially in the second quarter, when Geelong were really dominating the game, you hung in there, you hung tough, your tackling was sensational.
Yeah, listen, we had to do it pretty hard. The Cats really had us on the back foot in the second quarter. I thought we started the game particularly well, and you know, the guys in the back half in particular really stood up, with Crody going down at the start of the second quarter. I think that was the significance of Hodge's role yesterday. He's just such a marvellous leader of men, and really organises the troops well. And with Crody going down, it could have really caused a bit of grief down there, but Hodge was able to settle the ship down there and take control and just organise the matchups really well, which was so important for us, because by the time you get a message from the box down to the player, sometimes it's too late. And for Hodgie and Steve Gillen to organise things down there for us was first class.
That toughness, and almost a bit of mongrel in some of those players, is that coach syndrome, or is that something you targeted recruiting? You look at Jordan Lewis, Campbell Brown, Hodgie, there's a whole heap of blokes, Saul, who just love the contest and love getting dirty. Is that something you targeted?
Yeah, well, we've probably just carried on with the philosophy of bringing those tough, hard players as what we had with the previous recruiting through the footy club. You know, as I said, Hodge and Saul and those guys, Campbell Brown, came into our club prior to me arriving at the club, and the rest of our coaching staff and recruiting team. So we've actually brought some blokes in as well to complement that. But I think it's common for a lot of sides to want to recruit competitive players, and we saw yesterday when the heat was at its greatest and we were really under the pump, those guys really stood up for us, and it was really important.
Well done, Clarko. Stuff you. No, I do. No, I really do.
Belly boy.
And they were the best side on the day, no doubt about that. But half-time, Geelong kicked 1 goal 9 or whatever, as I was saying, they were coming, they had you on the ropes, they just couldn't deliver the knockout blow. What do you say to them at half-time? Because you had a couple of injuries. It looked like you were gone, you blokes, and you must have... Did you pull something out of the hat, or...?
Well, I was hemorrhaging in the second quarter, Billy, and so was our side, except for the back line that stood up. We just couldn't get the ball forward. And but funnily enough, we took a positive out of that. We thought, you know, Mitchell was down. Lingy was doing a terrific job on him. We couldn't get the ball into the forward line for Roughhead and Franklin to have an impact. We just thought to ourselves, if we could just break even a little bit in the stoppages, that we'd been beaten comprehensively in the first half in that area. We actually looked at it as a positive that we're in front. I mean, Big Moon's missing that goal right on the half-time siren helped us a little bit. I was halfway down the stairs and didn't realise I was spewing, and I didn't realise until I got down to the room and someone said he'd missed it. So the Cats missed some set shots that they would normally have got, but I also thought some of the pressure that we applied. You know, there was I saw footage earlier that you of where Geelong players were free and they could have handballed perhaps, but that's the pressure that was being applied in the game in the grand final, and I thought that contributed a lot to the misses as well, and that was really important for us in staying in the contest, because we were down and out for a while in that second quarter.
Al, I know it's hard to individualise and to pick out individual players as such for their courage and their skill, but Rioli in particular, we spoke about him in the first segment, and even your move to applaud him in the box.
Yeah, listen, we've done that several occasions throughout the course of the year. You know, for a guy to be, you know, a premiership player in his first year, he's runner-up in the Rising Star. He was in contention for Mark of the Year, Goal of the Year. And,
have you seen this one back on this bit?
Don't need to see it back. We're sitting just above that and just marvelled at the competitiveness of the lad. You know,
Just wants it, doesn't he?
just electric he is. Tackles really well, and he's just an absolute ripper.
And then there's a footy guide, of course, and kicks that goal. 10 possessions, but he was an absolute star, no doubt about that.
Best 10 touches you'll see in a grand final, Bill. Yeah.
Roughhead only the 1 goal. Sorry, 2, and Franklin 1. And I just noticed at centre bounces...
2 and 2.
2, sorry. But just noticed at centre bounces you kept rotating your full forwards. Was that to unsettle and maybe get Scarlett out of the full-back area?
Yeah, a little bit, but particularly after quarter time when Crody went down and then Youngie went down early in the third quarter, we needed to bring Franklin and Williams to our wings. We couldn't actually get the ball into the forward half, so they were pretty fresh, those lads. So we actually needed to bring them to a wing to actually get some rotation through the midfield because we were down and out. You know, we were really concerned in the second half that we'd run out of legs, and that's why for us the contest wasn't over until 2 minutes to go. They needed 4 or 5 goals to win, and that was the time where we could sort of say, "Oh, I think we've got this." But up until then, as we saw, we got 5 goals up in the third quarter, and
late ones, Clarko.
Very, very quick goals. Those ones, Billy. A bit contentious, a couple of those umpiring decisions, but
yes.
We won't talk about the umpiring.
No, we're happy with the umpiring decision on that time.
What about, we talked about in the previous highlights, Stuart Dew and what a story that is. Can you tell us how you came about getting him back to the club? Because he had a year off and you obviously had a connection there through your work at Port Adelaide.
And you copped criticism for this one.
Yeah, we'd lost Vanders, Benny Dixon and Joel Smith, and we knew that 1 or 2 of those guys might retire at the end of last year, but we didn't anticipate all 3 would go out at the one time, and it just coincidental that Dewey was out there at the same time. I thought he'd retired prematurely. He's 26 years of age when he retired, and it's not just his footy ability, he's just a high-quality bloke. I've got enormous regard for him as a person and what he could have brought to our footy club if we could get him in the sort of nick, and he still needs to do a little bit of work, as we see there, but for the contribution he made, I'd love to be able to take credit for pushing him forward in the second half yesterday. I don't know how the hell he got there, but he did. But he did, and we haven't actually discussed as a coaching staff yet to acknowledge who made the move, but it wasn't me.
Will he play again next year? How many years do you see him playing?
Yeah, well, it was all going to depend on how his body would stand up, and but it was always the intention that as long as his body was able to stand up, he'd be a 2 to 3 year player at our footy club. It might be 4. I mean, he's 28 or 29 now, and it's just fabulous what he's been able to do in 12 months.
Shane Crawford, great story. A lot of talk that, you know, he's finished on a high. Where's Crawford at? Will he play on next year, Clarko?
We'll sit down over the next week, Spud, and probably the next month. We won't do it over the next week, and establish what Crawford wants to do. It'd be a great way for him to finish if he decided to bow out now. But having said that, once you get the taste of it, he's still capable of playing on.
He played well yesterday.
And once you get the taste of it, maybe he wants to have another crack at it next year.
Where is that from? Do we know?
Yeah. Sometimes you just don't know with Crawford.
Well, look, Alastair, it's terrific you've come in, and the weekend only gets better for you. You've got the premiership medallion, but, mate, have you got a foo bar at home?
No.
Oh, mate, stick around for this.
Pretty handy. You know what I'd love to do with this, Tony, on Clarko's head?
Now, Lou, Billy, don't take it over.
Stewie Dew's not going to be happy now. The donuts are gone.
Yeah.
So, Lou, it was a terrific effort by the Hawks, wasn't it, yesterday?
Fantastic. Yeah, but I can recall playing against them years ago. We used to love going in to play them.
Yeah. And well done to Alastair. You must say well done to him.
Alastair's a marvellous job. Great coach.
Yep.
What he knows about football, you never understand.
Well, I think they understood his message yesterday.
Certainly did. Yeah. And he's a great coach and a great team and a great effort. They're a great bunch of people down there.
Yeah. So he's now in the glitterati ranks of Jock McHale and Fons Kine and all the great...
He won't be up to his Fons Kine, but not Jock McHale. He was there for 150 years.
Exactly.
Premiership coach now.
Yeah.
What do you got for him?
Premierships.
Well, I've got a pair of Aquila shoes, Alastair.
Yeah, nice.
$1 million going out in those.
You'll wear them out tonight. Yep.
And also...
Read the thing. You got it there, Lou. Here we go.
Just a minute, Bill. A $250 voucher for a man want a fuss.
You can do some work on the feathers there, just spruce him up.
And the ammo styling down there, that's beautiful stuff.
That's good stuff.
And Waterside Hotel give you a voucher for $10 to $100 for...
You take the Dale there next week.
Take your wife there. Or your got a girlfriend aside.
He's
Most
got-
of you breaks down.
No, Lou.
Most breaks down, have it?
No, that.
One dog, one bone, Louis.
Kids are watching at home, Luke.
The Fat Max.
And Fat Max, you can't beat that.
No.
And that book there, Kevin Sheedy did the forward to it.
Yes. You got it right.
I could have said it, but I wanted to give Kevin Sheedy a bit of a push-up. Don't you laugh, Danny. I'll punch you in the eye in a minute.
Punch you there.
I'll be arm.
And the Krispy Kremes.
And the Krispy Kremes, they're fantastic.
Glazed, don't I say?
Glazed.
Yeah.
And also the home hardware.
$200 gift card.
Can't beat it.
Yep, well done.
Well done.
Good on you, Luke.
Thanks, Billy.
Now, we'll see you back, of course, because we're doing the handball in 2 segments today.
Are we?
It's like a test match. We've got 4 innings.
Ah, good.
Yeah,
Could have
so-
fooled me.
Yeah. Yeah, we could have. But anyway. All right, Lou. And we want to thank also all our sponsors who've
We'd
been...
like to thank all our sponsors. They've done a marvellous job.
There's an echo in here.
And without you, we wouldn't have been sponsoring them.
because without you, we wouldn't have been sponsoring them. So thanks very much, Lou. You take a seat, mate. And Alastair, again, thanks for coming in. And just Mark Bickley, it's his last show. He's joining the coaching ranks over in Adelaide. You got any advice for him?
Yeah, get plenty of sleep now, mate. You won't get much next year.
All right, give him a round of applause again. Alastair Clarkson, the premiership coach.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break on the Sunday Footy Show. When we come back, we'll find out exactly how the Hawks did it. Stay with us.
Strong tackle got him down by Bateman. Hodge, Drew, gets the ball. Desperate trouble. Then passes back. Williams goes in.
Still with Franklin though. Now Drew could kick this, and he has. He's had the best 5 minutes of his. Quickly on Franklin. Oh, he's done it. He's done it. He's put the icing on the cake.
Yes, welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. I can tell you these FUBARs are a very, very powerful tool because Alastair Clarkson has actually decided to stick around because you now get 2 of these.
Fantastic. You get 2 of everything else as well.
Yeah, we'll give you, mate, we'll give you the shoes. You get more, you'll be taking home 79 donuts today, Alastair. So that'll be really good down at Glenferrie Oval. So no, actually, Alastair's been good enough to stay around as we delve into it, Bix, and just take a look at the match.
Yes, let's have a look at the final score. Geelong were able to get up by 26 points there. Sorry, Hawthorn 26 points. Geelong had more scoring shots, 34 to 25, but you can see there, Cameron Mooney missed a couple of shots. He'll regret that, but Mark Williams, Drew Franklin were the goal kickers there for Hawthorn, and great result, 26-point victory.
With 28 disposals there. And one of the things that stood out to me in this first quarter, Alice, was that just the pressure and the intensity of the game, neither side had a chance to set up their zone sort of defence, did they? It was just one-on-one, basically.
Yeah, the ball moved quickly, and it was a stellar start to the grand final. Everyone was predicting a bit of bash and crash, I think, early in the game. That came later in the game, actually, when players slowed down a little bit and you could actually find the body. But it was a tremendous start. It was probably unlikely to stay that way for the game, given the heat and the fact that guys had slowed down and fatigue a little bit. But yeah, it was a good start to the game.
I saw the first quarter as the first 10 minutes sort of belonged to Geelong. The next 10 minutes belonged to the Hawks, and they started to sort of just gain their composure a little bit. And then the last 10 minutes belonged to the Cats again when Mooney was able to kick some easy goals. So it was really a quarter divided by 3, if you like.
Yeah, look, one of the interesting things, inside 50s, you would have thought if Geelong were going to have as many as they did, you were going to be in big trouble. For the day, it was 62 to 40 something, so that would have been rather unusual for you to be outnumbered in the differential like that.
Yeah, we're concerned because it was like the dam wall was going to break at some point in time, with so many inside 50s. And, they got so many because they were also dominant at stoppages early in the game, and we needed to try to rectify that. Ling was doing a great job on Mitchell, who's such an important part of our midfield structure. So we had our concerns, but also we were of the view that if we're able to get the ball inside our 50, we did give ourselves enough opportunities to kick a score, and that's what proved pivotal in the end.
had that feeling about it, this game, that right from this first quarter, Bix and Spud and Billy, didn't it, that this one was going to go, you know, a lot deeper than a lot of grand finals have gone in past years. And Mooney, you see, finishing off with the last 2 goals for Geelong in that quarter there, and his accurate kicking didn't quite stay with him for the rest of the game.
Clarko, you would have been fairly happy at quarter time, though. You know, the scores are fairly level, so you would have been fairly composed
one point.
Yeah, walking down to the troops at quarter time.
Yeah, we were, and you know, Geelong are a very, very good starting side, and we'd seen the way they'd blown Port Adelaide up in the first half last year, and it was really a no contest from probably halfway through the second quarter onwards. So we needed to make sure that you know, we're really, really competitive. I thought we got away to a good start. I think it was 3-1 there at one point in time, and we're running the ball particularly well. The Cats, as you expect with such a quality side, came back into it in the latter part of the first quarter, and then they really had a handle on the game in the second quarter, and we were just hanging on, trying to stay in the contest. And we're fortunate they kicked a little bit inaccurately, and we were able to stay in the game and be in front at half time.
Well, you made the most of the opportunities, because in the second quarter you kicked 3-1 to the Cats 1-9, so you really made them pay on the scoreboard. But it was amazing. I thought it was your tackling pressure. I know they kicked 1-9, but forced him into errors. Not only shots on goal, but the indecisive decisions going forward, because they had 41 possessions inside their forward 50 in the first half to Hawthorn's 14.
Yeah, it was quite significant, and yeah, that was the pressure a lot of guys applied. Our midfield pushing down to help out our defence, because we were under siege in that second quarter, and we had to do it tough.
Alastair, just on the rush behinds, we spoke about in the first segment, there's been some suggestions 3 points for a rush behind, or you bounce the ball 20 metres out from goal. Are you happy to see it stay as it is?
No, I think it needs to be changed. It certainly wasn't a tactic of ours going into the game. I actually don't like the tactic at all. Geelong zoned probably better than any team in the competition, a full 18-man zone, and very, very difficult to get the ball out. It wasn't our tactic to actually draw the ball back for another behind, but on so many occasions you looked up and there was just a wall of Geelong players, and it was either just tap it back through for a behind, or risk having it kicked over your scone and through for 6 points. So they took the former on most occasions, and I don't think it's a good advertisement for our game that sort of tactics used on a regular basis. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't addressed at some point over the summer.
So what's your theory? Do you think it should be 3 points or a bounce 20 metres out, or how do you think it should?
Well, I think it needs to be changed, but I'd reckon there'd be a few wiser heads than mine that will sit around the table at some point over the summer and try and work out what the best strategy is for going forward, whether that's a bounce at the top of the square or whether it's at a point 25 out, or I'm not certain what the. I don't like the idea of the 3 points. I think that changes and mixes with the traditions of our game, but I think something needs to be addressed in that regard.
Well, they say the third quarter's a premiership quarter, and it turned out to be that yesterday. It really did get fired up. What at half-time, you're a couple of men down. Were you confident in your running ability? Because it was a hot day yesterday. Were you worried that perhaps you might be out of gas with those 2 men down?
Yeah, it'd be silly if I said I weren't, Bix, because we obviously acknowledge that with the heat and the fact that rotations have become such a big part of all sides in the competition now, we're a couple of men down, and maybe fortunately one of those was a taller type of player in Crody. He's not a running type, but we had to use a running type to actually replace him down there, because we didn't have a big brute to replace him, and we haven't all year, which has been a strength of ours in some ways. But
Campbell Brown went forward, didn't he? Just play that role a bit.
Went back. Yeah. Campbell's, and that's. We decided halfway through the year. He's shown over a long period of time he's got the capability of playing forward and back, but we've used him down back because he's all Australian centre-half back or defender last year. But we wanted to try to use him as more of a swinger, where he could go forward and back. And the bulk of the last 8 weeks he's played forward, but we swung him at the right time, Billy, yesterday.
He'd make a good swinger, don't worry about that, Campbell Brown. But you needed the first goal in the last quarter, didn't you? Because Geelong kicked those 2 ones late through Milburn and Johnston. You're very important to kick that first one, and Buddy stood up to the plate. Yeah,
well, what was really important too was just that I think the first goal of the last quarter took about 5 or 6 minutes or longer. That it wasn't a goal that happened. So the game was actually just no one really had great momentum in the first part. the Cats to really make an impression probably needed to get a goal early and get the crowd behind them, and it was really good on our players' behalf that they worked really hard in that first 5 or 6 minutes and then got the goal early to Buddy.
12 minutes, I think it was. Yeah,
12 is it?
If I said to you before the game, Mitchell's going to have 13 possessions and Buddy is going to kick 2 and Franklin's going to kick 2, would you still be confident? I mean, Roughhead's going to kick 2. Would you be confident you'd win?
Well, funnily enough, more so with Mitchell being held than the forwards. I always thought that we had the capabilities as we saw last week. Franklin doesn't need to kick goals for us to win games of footy. 2 weeks in a row, 2 big finals. Yeah. He hasn't had a big impact on the scoreboard himself, but last week he still contributed to 5 or 6 goals. There was times Max was that conscious of Buddy. Max Hodgson, that there's a part in the season when Surioli kicked a goal there at one stage because Max went with Franklin. That people don't understand just how important he can engage opponents now, and that's very, very important to our structure. So he contributed a lot last week without hitting the scoreboard, and I just thought if we continue to get that sort of contribution from him, it helps us enormously.
It was a very good win.
OK, well, Alastair, thanks again for staying around, mate, and
no worries,
we really appreciate it, and enjoy the day, enjoy the week, enjoy the off-season.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Good on you. Once again, Alastair Clarkson, the Premiership coach, joining us here on the Sunday Footy Show. A couple of more of Hawthorn's luminaries to join us throughout the show. Stay with us. You just never know what might bob up, because we don't. More with after this. Yes, there it is, Mark Bickley's replacement for the 2009 Sunday Footy Show. Can we have another look at Mark Bickley's replacement?
Say something.
We're going to get a
Say
shot
something.
Say something.
Stock standard.
Yeah. All right, now, boys, don't think, do, because we've been welcomed back, of course, by Darren Goldspink. The segment's been such a success over the past few weeks, so... Hey, boys, we're on.
Yeah.
Hello, we're on. Anyway, Darren Goldspink's been good enough to join us, and we might just cut through the chatter and actually welcome you back. And you've got some good decisions for us.
Yeah, we've got 3 today, I think.
Yes, we have.
Is that right?
We're going to kick off with a Franklin Scarlett contest, a bit of a hold and sort of grapple sort of thing. I'd be interested in your thoughts on this one, Darren, as see the ball's pumped forward. You can see Scarlett just in the front of the picture there, falls to the ground. There's another shot of it. That angle is not great to see it. He pays the kick to Scarlett here, and we'll have a look at the replay. Have a look at this, Darren. What do you think?
Ooh. Yeah, look, I think that's pretty clear cut. I think that's just an error.
Yeah.
Very good.
Wasn't a lot of contact there, was there?
We haven't got a lot of time, have we?
OK,
We'll just push through.
No, I mean, we've got a little bit more than that, Darren. I mean,
do you want me to expand
just
slightly
build the drama
more?
a bit, mate. Build
He
the
said
drama.
it was an error.
No, we'll spend a bit more time on the next one.
Who did we just put away then?
Umpire?
Yeah.
Sean Ryan, I think.
Vozo, I think it was, wasn't it?
I don't know.
No, I think it was Sean Ryan. Voz was in the middle, yeah.
Just he looked like he saw Scarlett fall down, maybe guessed a little bit. Let's have a look at the next one, which is against Hunt. Osborne going towards the footy, slides in, and what's your decision here, Darren?
Yeah, I think it appears that Michael Osborne went in and probably contributed a little bit to that. Well, Hunt did fall on him a little bit, but not really into his back. I think it probably would have been better just to let that one go.
Okay.
So another error?
0 out of 2.
Because that was paid a free kick, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, this one ended up in a goal, Goldie, because this one was downfield. Now, Gary Ablett received a head-high tackle, we see here, from Hodge, I think it was.
Mitchell, clear free kick there.
Yeah, Mitchell.
I think it's probably fair to say that the free kick was at the time when Ling had the ball, and he clearly kicked it after the free kick was given. So it was
whistle?
probably the whistle. Well, it's not so much about the whistle, but the free kick was clearly given away now. Now, Ling's still got the ball, so it's definitely not down the ground. The umpire could have pulled it up. The umpire could have called advantage there if he wanted, or he could have just stopped it, gone up to Mitchell, said, "Hey, we don't want that sort of stuff," and give the free kick to Ling.
But Ling,
clearly
where
not,
he is.
Yeah,
not
clearly
down the
not where
field.
the ball ended up.
Ended up in a goal.
Yeah, well.
So, out of 10 for the umpires yesterday, Darren?
Look, I thought they did pretty well. It was a pretty tough game early on, and I thought they were prepared just to let the play unfold. They didn't pull out too many, ticky-touch with free kicks. Just let it go. I thought it was a great game.
A bit of Krispy Kreme about those donuts. They didn't get any of those right.
No, well, I mean, you've pulled out the 3 errors they made for the day. So.
Probably we have.
Yeah, you spent all night trying to find them, haven't you?
They were actually pretty good. Scotty McLaren had a rough day.
I'll tell you what, they're consistent with the holding ball. They just didn't pay it, which was good. So it was consistent.
But it's just funny how in a grand final you tend to find that there's not a lot of holding the balls, and I mean I don't know why that is, but it just just doesn't seem to be. Yeah.
Let it flow.
And the umpires get just as nervous as the players, I'd imagine, in your little room there beforehand. I mean, it's your grand final as well.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's not our grand final as such, but, it's very important that the guys put in a good performance and get all the free kicks right and make sure that the game flows along and turns out to be, a great spectacle for everybody.
All right, well, as I say, it's been terrific over the past 3 or 4 weeks, and hopefully we can do it again in 2009.
Terrific. I came a bit early today. You said 3, but I came a bit early just in case.
Yeah, that's right. I said
Don't
3
get too
o'clock.
confident, though, Darren. Just
How'd I go third up from a spell, mate?
Don't do a Geelong on us, mate.
Don't
Get
fall
ahead
over.
of yourself.
No,
Just
it's
got to
all
win
right.
the,
We'll be
win the
right.
game first.
No, I won't get too cocky.
might get a bit of head wobble about you.
Don't be doing that.
All right, we're going to take a break on the Sunday Footy Show. When we come back, more to talk about from yesterday's big game at the MCG. Now you can talk, boys.
Now, this is how it's done, boys.
Since you lost it in the way, your chompers are more pronounced.
Almost like a skeleton-like, mate.
Yeah, give us a look at the shot.
I want to come in those chompers.
Actually, it's the same size.
Put a moustache on us, mate.
Put little horns on it, Bill.
That was a nappy cream, Bill.
Bill, are you sure that's not shampoo?
Oh, it's shaving cream.
Oh, there he is. This is the sort of shot you, Brian, can expect for the remainder of the season. I thought they were going to tweak it.
They haven't tweaked it at all.
Ah, yes, but... is this it? Oh, this is really us. I thought it was another goof. Yes, welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. How you going, kid?
They were funny, those two, weren't they?
Yeah, without trying to be funny.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
right.
It's been a terrific year. Now, this is, of course, the handball has been the highlight of the Sunday.
It certainly has.
As the Sunday Footy Show, as you well know, Lewis. And what we're doing today is it's like a bit of a test match, really. So we're going to have 2 innings. So this is part 1 of the grand final edition of the handball. And who we got playing?
Nathan Brown from Richmond.
Yep.
And you wouldn't read about this Nathan Foley from Richmond too.
Wow.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
Well, Nathan Brown is actually playing for Andrew Raines, aren't you, Nathan?
Yeah, he's overseas at the moment in Europe with his girlfriend, so just filling in.
I know I'd rather
It's
be.
a triple Richmond sort of.
Well, it is like a triple tiger, but you haven't cut any deals, have you, Nathan?
No, not at all.
No.
Which Nathan?
This Nathan B. No, that's Nathan B. You're Nathan F.
2 tigers, 2 nations.
So, all right, so no deals have been done, so this is all Reggie Didge. So what are the rules here, Brian, for part 1?
Get it through the hole.
What about this time?
Been doing it a while now.
Tony.
No, well, actually, hang on a minute, Dan, because I asked that because people might just think it's 5 off one or 5 off the other, but it's actually 10 and 10.
It's 10 for a bullseye, 7 for a 7.
Danny,
7 for a
2
7.
and 0.
Danny, if I was at all confident your scone would fit through that hole, I'd put it through it.
Tony, it's simple.
I'll drive you through that.
Tony, 5 with the right.
Yes.
5 with the left.
That's part 1.
And then 5 with the right and 5 with the left. That's part 1. And
Yeah.
then we come back and do part 2. I think that's
Right,
how we
Nathan
do it.
Brown
And
first.
what do they win?
They win the 10,000 bucks.
10 grand from 4 and 20 and the 5,000 for a runner-up. There they are there.
Come on, Danny.
How many for a bullseye, Tom?
Righto, it's on the right.
10.
7.
Ooh.
7.
It's
There
concentrating.
he is. He's on the right.
It's all right. He can take his time. 5.
Take the hat off and you might be able to see it.
19.
7.
26.
26.
Plenty of time to make up ground.
Oh.
5.
Geez,
31.
31. Brownie.
I'll get this one, Bix.
Is someone texting Andrew Raines? This will make his holiday.
All right, Nathan. Whenever you're ready, mate. 5.
A bit rusty, the boys.
Yeah.
7. Ball got in his way. Get the balls, they're getting in the way. 7.
19.
19.
7.
Thanks, Luke.
26.
Do it properly, Spud. It's a grand final.
Wow,
36.
we have got a very interesting ball game here, Brian.
Okay, so now they go back to the right or the left.
Left.
7. This is very nice from Nathan
38.
Brown.
38.
7.
45.
Looking very relaxed. Remember this, it's nearly half time. 7.
52.
Nearly half time, bro.
Coming up to half time for Brownie. 7.
59, Luke.
59.
69.
Yeah, what have we got in our hands here?
Yeah, got a ring a ding, ding, ding game.
Finally for the week.
I think you threw in one extra ding then.
Come on, Bill.
7.
Oh, a bit rusty there, mate.
43.
43.
He's not on fire at the
50.
moment. 7.
58.
Oh,
60.
he's good at this. 5.
Oh,
55.
Brownie's loopy. Brownie's loopy.
7.
Aldo, 72, 69.
So the half-time score,
Pretty good
half-time
one.
score, 69 plays 72. Nathan Foley been so dominant all year, but in the grand final has just come back to the field a little bit. Does that remind us of anything?
No, it doesn't, Tony.
Oh, sorry, Bill.
Bill, ask them at half time, how do they feel?
How do you feel?
What it would give him
How do you
mind,
feel,
Tony?
Nathan?
Very good,
What
Bill.
does it
How do you feel,
remind us of?
Nathan?
What moves are they going to make, Will?
What are you going to do?
How can you
got
improve?
any
All right,
changes?
boys. OK, we're going to take a break on the Sunday Footy Show. Don't forget part 2 coming up a little later on in the program. Coming up right after this break, though, a very, very special guest. Stay with us. Yes, he's the face of this year's grand final in a lot of ways, isn't he? Shane Crawford, after almost, around about 17 years of dreaming about the big day at the MCG, that dream finally comes to a realisation, and he joins us now. Well done, Shane. Thanks for having me. And you've brought the medal in. Hold the medal up for us.
Yeah, I've got the medal here, which I've been dreaming about all my life, so it's great to have. And it was a very long night, but a great day. Couldn't get any better.
You must just be not only physically drained, but emotionally drained as a result of it.
Oh, no, I'm on a high. It's starting to sink in now. So, you know, I was in shock, to be honest, the last 5 minutes of the game and probably, 4 or 5 hours after the game, I kept saying we've won the premiership. But it just started to sink in as the night went on, and, it's just an amazing effort by the whole team, and it's a dream come true.
Now, the boys have got a multitude of questions for you, but the big question that we've been asking, and apologies to our receptionist because the phone calls have been flooding in, you've got to tell us what this means.
That's what I'm talking about!
Well, what are you talking about?
I don't know what I'm talking about. A friend of mine kept saying it. He owns a lot of race horses, and every time his horse was hitting the line and winning, he kept saying it. And I don't know, I just I jumped on board and joined in. That's what I'm talking about.
The emotion and straight after the game, how much, as well as the elation, how much relief was in it?
We thought if we came to play and played the best we possibly could, we were going to be in the match, and to get across the line. And I suppose during the week we didn't get caught up in it too much. We still felt that we had some work to do. So from that point of view, we're always very confident at getting in there and playing well and really testing ourselves, and just all that hard work that has taken not only this year but many years has come off, and we're the premiers. How good's that?
What were you thinking right here, going up to receive that thing around your neck?
I still, to be honest, I can't remember a great deal about it because it's, I don't know. It's, I kept pinching myself, thinking, "Is this really happening?" And it's. I'm sure that the more footage I look back at it, and as the days go on, that it'll start to really sink in. And it's just when we did the lap of honour, and to see all the supporters and to give them high fives and to raise their fist and watch them cheer. That's what it's all about. They have been through the tough times and the good times with the footy club, and to see it all come true. Not only for me as a player, but my teammates and supporters, it was just an amazing time.
Is that the first time you've seen the vision?
Yeah. Yep.
And after the game, at, I think it was 7:30 or something, you all went out on the ground again, and which has become a bit of a tradition now with the Premiership Cup in the centre circle.
Yeah, we went out there and sang the song, you know, sang it as loud as we possibly could, which was great. And then we went on to Federation, is it Square?
Yeah.
And then the Crown, and then on from there. So it's a big night, and it's going to be a big couple of days.
Crawford, you're a boy from Finley and went to Assumption College, and then you've come to Hawthorn the end of '91, their golden era. You probably just thought, well, I've come to a club that's premiership success, you know, 8 grand finals in a row, it's only a matter of time. And then 17 years have passed. It must be just a dream come true. It must have got frustrated. Do you ever think your time was going to be just out for Shane Crawford?
Yeah, I probably did when Clarko came in as coach, because he sat us down and said, look, it's going to be tough the next few years, and this is the role I want you to play, is help the young kids develop. And he said it's going to be extremely tough, you know, we're going to struggle. So I probably thought then, you know, gee, I've missed the boat. But, you know, I can't believe that I'm actually part of a premiership team, and who would have thought, you know, 4 years ago when he stepped in as coach that, you know, we'd be here celebrating a premiership.
And you shared it with your wife and young Charlie?
We're not married yet.
But, young Charlie out in the ground?
We're not far off. Yeah, no, that
must have been fantastic.
Yeah. I know BT's a big rap for having kids on the ground.
Worry about them, occupational health and safety, Shane?
You know, the thing, I suppose, playing my 300th and also the premiership, you know, the best thing about it is having your son out there and having photos that, you know, last a lifetime, and, you know, that's been one thing that I've really been looking forward to. I know Brian doesn't like it, but that's all right. We'll get on and we'll just focus on those pictures and move on.
What about physically? How did you finish the end of the year? You looked like you were running on top of the ground yesterday. At what stage do you sit down and assess where to from here?
It was always a battle for me. Probably 10 weeks out, I was very iffy to continue on because of my knee. And because the side was doing so well, we tried a few different things, and I was very lucky to be out there during the final. So the fitness staff, led by Andrew Russell, and also the physios, have done an amazing job at having the team right, especially for finals. And it's been I suppose that's probably the hardest thing about the football side, is having everyone up and about when, you know, when it's a real struggle for certain players. So it was just, you know, a great effort by everyone.
305 games, 2 decades, got the premiership medal now. You've got it all, Brownlow. You've done it all, Crawf. Do you retire now? A very happy man?
I've never done back-to-back. So.
Right.
I honestly, I don't know. The next couple of weeks, I'm just going to enjoy it, and then I'm going to sit down and work through it. I need to work out how long it's going to take me to get my knee right. They all say that it's, you know, it's only a matter of a couple of months of, you know, giving it a bit of rest and a bit of rehab. But yeah, I don't know. If it was to be my last game, what a game to finish on.
Exactly.
All right, we'll stay with us for a tick. We're going to head out now. Chris Jones is our reporter on the spot, and he's got another of the Hawks heroes with him. Chris.
Good morning, guys. Well, obviously, it's been an absolutely huge night for the Hawthorn Football Club, and we're joined by the absolute main man yesterday. He's now a premiership player, a Norm Smith medalist, the vice-captain of the Hawthorn Football Club. Hodgie, congratulations. Has it sunk in?
Yeah, a little bit today, I guess. I think it was just a superb day for everyone, all the Hawk supporters we had 10,000 at Glenferrie Oval, and just all the Hawk supporters who got to the game yesterday. It was just superb.
What about the turnout at Fed Square last night?
Oh, it was amazing, mate. Especially when you look out there and they were all cheering for the boys. It was just goes to show the support that Ian Dicker and all the guys put in. Was that 12 years ago, 10 years ago, to made us stay as a club. So it was just a good effort.
You're remarkably composed. Not too many drinks last night?
No, I was actually good last night. I actually look after the missus. I had to make sure she got home safely, so she had a fair crack. I think my turn's going to come next couple of days, I think.
Today will be a fair go too. Glenferrie Oval's going to be buzzing this Savo, isn't it?
Yeah, I hope so, especially the people that got there yesterday, as I said, and it's just good for the supporters. I think they've gone through a lot the last couple of years. It's just good that they stuck by us, and super effort.
What do you remember of the game, actually playing?
Not a hell of a lot, I think. It was just, I think it was just a rush. I think at one stage, I feel the boys got excited during the third quarter, and we sort of said, settle it down, make sure you are, especially when we got that run on. Dewey started firing up, so look, it was just an amazing effort. In the last 5 minutes, we sort of enjoyed it a little bit.
The final siren, I believe you were looking for one bloke only.
Yeah, actually, well, Crow was injured as well, so I had to run to my best mate, Gooey. So, and especially being on the half-back line, I had to give him a big bear hug. And next thing, got attacked by all the boys, so the blokes that weren't playing that come on. So it was good by all the boys.
And the Norm Smith medal, we've got to talk about that. That's a pretty special moment for you.
I guess it's something I'll probably look back in a few years, but at this stage, as a group, it was just a super effort. And starting back, it's probably makes a pre-season worthwhile now, I guess, looking at how long the year was, and I guess looking forward to next year now, I guess.
Who are you expecting to be the best on over the next week or so, when we talk about the celebrations?
Mate, I reckon there could be about 10 boys, I reckon. Mate, I wouldn't count anyone else. I think Chance Bateman, he has a fair crack, I think, so I'm looking forward to him.
Just talk us through your year. Cooper, of course, you've had your first son with Loz, and now you've got a premiership medallion around your neck.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm still... What's a bigger moment? I think Cooper's still just on top of the premiership, but no, look, it was. I got a few photos after the game of Cooper in his Hawthorn jumper. So, look, it was just a great day all around, I think.
And I mean, the Norm Smith's fantastic and all that sort of stuff. But celebrating with your teammates, what was that like?
Oh, mate, it was amazing, especially I think there's a few times yesterday where we got into there's a little room just while we wait to get at Fed Square and also at Palladium at Crown. We just all in the room together and had a bit of a chat about it, and especially we all went out in the ground after the game just to talk about what we went through and how hard it was this year, and if we stick together, anything could happen the next couple of years. So, look, it was just a superb effort by the boys.
There was a lot of blank faces from seeing a few of the boys last night, just staring into space in disbelief.
Yeah, I think it was, I guess, the unknown. We knew it was coming in the future. I guess we knew we've matured a lot the last couple of years, and as we said, anything could have happened if we worked well and played as a team, and that worked yesterday.
Righto, what do you do from here on? What's the plan over the next week?
I've got no idea, mate. As I said, we go to Glenferrie today, see all the supporters there, and then we head down to Tasmania tomorrow to see all the Tassie supporters down there, which is going to be great. And yeah, just take it as it comes, I guess.
All right, good luck. Keep the aspirin on you.
Oh, mate, we'll do.
Chris Jones with Luke Hodge there, and we've had Crawford, Hodge, and the coach Alastair Clarkson, and Chris Jones has been more rusty than any of them.
Did he say they're going to Tassie tomorrow?
We are, yeah, we're all flying down.
All of you?
Yep.
For a Mad Monday?
So that's a great show.
No, we're all going down, just for the supporters down there. So we're going down for a couple of hours, and then we're coming back to have a Mad Monday, and I'm sure it'll be pretty mad.
So what time do you head down there?
I couldn't tell you. I'm sure it'll be early.
Yeah, right, OK. And what, are you going for a parade through Launceston, or...?
No, we're just going to Aurora, and all the supporters can come there and for a couple of hours, and then we come back.
Yeah, good.
Beautiful.
Maybe come back on the boat.
Yeah, well, you might just feel like you're back on the boat.
Hey, by the way, just in the fairy tale, what was it like? You're also one of the best players on the ground. Do you think that was achievable at your age and where you were and all that sort of thing?
I was just more worried about playing a role, and I think that's what all the guys were. Rather than sort of going out there and worrying about how many kicks we were going to get, everyone just focused on the little things that we had to do, and I suppose that's what's won us a premiership.
All right then, mate, take us out with your now famous catch cry.
That's what I'm talking about!
That's what we're talking about.
You've got that down pat. You didn't move your lips.
Yeah.
That is sensational. All right, would you please thank him? Shane Crawford coming in, a premiership player. We'll take a break on the Sunday Footy Show. Don't forget, coming up a little later on, part 2 of the grand final of the Handball. See you soon. Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show as we look at the teams that didn't quite make it through to that last Saturday in September. Might have made it to the finals, but didn't quite get there on the one that mattered. This all thanks, of course, to our very good friends at Honda Power Equipment. We love Honda Power Equipment because they've got some of the best equipment going around, boys.
Especially the generators they make. I on the farm, there's no power out in the middle of the paddock, so I can whack a Jenny on the back of the ute, go down, do a bit of welding on a gate or drilling or whatever,
They've got the built-in eco throttle, which I really like, because that goes up and down with the usage wattage.
Yeah, but also environmentally friendly.
Generator.
BT, what about the lawnmowers? They start first time, every time, year after year, Tony. They are unbelievable.
I think they're now the new catch cry of turning grass into lawn.
The brush cutter is what you need, Tone. They got the mini 4-stroke engine, so we cannot go past that, Bill.
Oh, the blower for me.
What are they?
The blower for
What's that
me.
do, Bill?
It's a 4-stroke blower, which you'd be familiar with, Spud, but and it's super quiet. So the 4-stroke blower for me.
Yeah, no, Honda Power Equipment, and look, being in the newsroom, we can't endorse things, so I'm not going to, except to say that the bloody lawnmowers are fantastic. They really are.
Especially this time of year, Tony. Spring, the grass gets thick.
Well, the Sir Walter Buffalo is just
First time,
out of control
every
at the
time.
moment.
And the missus, they're all ready to get out there and mow them. So.
They're all good, but we've yet to see one.
Oh, God, we're going to have to now, surely. Anyway, but what about St Kilda? We saw them through the year, and how did you assess those, Brian?
Well, let's first of all have a look at the season's leaders and all of the stats. Of course, we know they finished 4th, 13 wins, 9 losses. Draft picks, 13 and 31 are their low picks, so probably be able to do something there. And Lenny Hayes led the handballs, clearances and tackles. Nick Riewoldt, of course, 65 goals for the year. Used 37 players, interestingly enough.
A lot of injuries.
A lot of injuries. Untouchables, Sam Fisher, Nick Riewoldt, Lenny Hayes, Luke Ball, pretty obvious ones. Max Hutchins at the stage of his career where you're not going to trade him, and he should have been an All-Australian fullback this year anyway. And, of course, Brendan Goddard. And they were very, very good indeed. Brendan Goddard, I thought, Spud, well, you all spoke about Daniel Bradshaw and he's come back from a knee injury, but this guy here has done the same.
They will build the midfield around him, BT. You're all over that. His ball use is exceptional. He can go forward and kick a goal, and he kicks the ball normally 55 metres.
Yeah, he does. And those that are possible trade bait, Jason Graham, Nick Delsana, all of these players, a good 4 or 5 of these players.
Graham.
Yeah, well, you've got to give something to get something, Bill. That's your philosophy.
Yeah.
That's why Justin Kaczynski's there. Yeah. He will lure something very, very nice for the St Kilda Football Club. Absolutely no doubt about that.
First round pick.
He'd look good in
Possibly.
Bix's colours. Adelaide need a power forward.
Yeah, they
Western
do.
Bulldogs.
They do.
What do you think, Bix?
Like a power
I
tool.
think everyone would look at a big power forward.
What about
Kaczynski
Geelong?
falls into that category. Number 1 pick, of course.
Did Geelong need a power forward?
They got
Bill?
one down there. Just got to get him out on the ground.
The goings are obvious. Harvey retired. What a sensational career. One of the great careers in football. Fraser Garrick gone and Michael Gardner. What will they do with him? Bit of a question mark.
All right, then. That was the St Kilda Footy Club. Must be getting close to the end of the show because you've got your hot chocolates now, boys.
I'll look at them.
Courtesy of Honda.
What can they do?
Honda Milo, bro.
Is there nothing that Honda Power Equipment cannot do?
It's got some get up and going.
Good. You cannot mow a lawn unless you've got your cup of hot chocolate in the other hand. Oh, I wish you had your blower though, Bill. It's a bit hot. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Tell us about the Western Bulldogs, Bill.
Yeah, well, they finished 3rd, of course. 15 wins, 6 losses. A really good year for the Doggies. I would have thought some picks there: 14, 32, 48, 64. Interesting enough, with the leading kick getter, Mark's handballs, the Brownlow medalist isn't there. He wins the clearances. Johnson kicks the most goals with 50. They played 32 players, was pretty low. The untouchables, Orion Griffin, Adam Cooney, the Brownlow medalist, and Shawnee Higgins, who they, with West now going.
3.
Yes, well, because we want to trade a little bit, but this bloke now, you'd think you'd play a lot more in the middle, Spud, wouldn't he, with Scotty West retiring.
He loves the goals, Bill, and you're right. I think he gets a bit fitter. He broke his ankle start of the year. That's really hampered his season, but big pre-season. Look for him in the midfield with Griffin and Cooney.
Very good in that preliminary final. Trade bait. Well, Farron Ray is actually, he's asked to be traded. So, and Peter Street. There's a few there.
Well, he was showing the door.
Oh?
He was showing the door.
Peter Street?
Yeah.
Right, there you go. He's showing the door. Which, well, so I don't know if there's too many others there they can trade. But Farron Ray's also asked to be moved on. So
Why? Because you just don't. You just felt he didn't get a fair go?
No, and there's retirements. McDougall, of course, Scotty West, Nathan Eagle, and Jason Ackermanis. I think he was asked along the lines of retiring.
I think you'll find that he was.
Hasn't he got another year to go?
Is that right?
He was asked, I think. Brian?
I don't know, but I think he's at that age where you'd probably ask him.
Oh, wow.
He's getting a bit older.
Isn't that a
Every year
revelation?
you get old, you just ask the question.
All righty. You want me to get you out of this?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break on the Sunday Footy Show. Just 2 teams to go to review on their season. Wonder who they could be, Brian.
Yes, I don't know. Who are they?
Geelong and Hawthorn. All right, that's coming up right after this. wish we had that Frank Sinatra song, you know, sort of, and now the end is near because of Bix. I mean, it's getting a little bit teary at the moment.
Just power on thanks to Honda Tone.
BT, will it be a lap of honour for Bix at the end of the
Yes,
show?
you're going to give him a lap around the desk today.
All right, let's have a look at the two teams, and those two teams are Geelong and Hawthorn.
Well, we're looking at Geelong, Tone. I actually, they can quite easily win the grand final again next year. Have a look at this. 2 losses, well, 1 loss in the season proper, Bill, but obviously another loss in the big one. Draft picks, look, they've got an early pick there, pick 15. They'll bounce back. I've got no doubting that, the Cats, because they're untouchables. Have a look at these boys, Bartel, Mooney, their goal. They need another goal kicker to help Mooney with the marks. Joel Corey, outstanding season.
He might win the best and fairest, Joel Corey.
Yeah, you're right. Steve Johnson, 51, but you'd think they need another tall forward. Not sure who that is, but untouchables. You could put another couple in there as well, but no doubt Ablett, Bartel, Johnson, Chapman, Selwood. Will he win the best and fairest, Bill? Joel Selwood?
Well, he could, yeah. There's another
Gary
one.
Albert, Brad Ottens, I think. Look, I've got here trade bait, quite interesting, Prismal. I think they've maybe just signing him up. And look, I think
they've offered him a 2-year deal.
And that's sensational. Shannon Burns.
You said they wanted big forwards, and then you got Tom Hawkins.
Well, that's why you either trade him now or you're playing. That's why I put it there. You've either got to put a big pre-season into him or trade him, BT. That's why I put him there.
Are you writing these two
No,
off?
I'm not. It's the age factor.
All
Captain.
Australian.
Vice captain.
Those questions are asked all the time of every year for older players.
Tell us about Hawthorn, Bix.
Well, look, the Hawks...
Make it a good one, mate. Your last thing.
Yeah, the Hawks are going all right at the minute. They were premiers, obviously.
Are they going all right at the minute?
Yes, very well indeed. They get pick 16 and pick 34, so they've got a couple of reasonably lowish picks, only the 5 losses for the year. But they've got a heap of young kids. There's the leaders. Mitchell was fantastic. You can see him figuring quite prominently there. Franklin with 113 goals, 31 players using 5 guys that played every match. The untouchables...
Only 5.
Well, yeah, I think so. They're the absolute untouchables. Franklin, Roughhead, Mitchell, Hodge, Rioli. You couldn't argue too much with those guys.
No.
I wouldn't have thought. This is the trade bait. Interesting. A lot of teams want ruckman, and with the emergence of Renouf, I think maybe they might have a surplus. So maybe Bailey or Taylor might be.
Didn't emerge a lot yesterday, would it?
No, well, look, but some other guys there. These are the retirees, and maybe Crawford, depending on what he's going to do. Zach Dawson, and of course Danny Jacobs is already gone.
All right, not bad, Bix, not bad. You starting to tear up a little bit?
I'm not very emotional. In fact, I'm looking forward to getting away from you guys.
Good on you.
Is long enough for anyone.
Well, look, it's not as if we've spent long looking for a replacement, Bix, because as we revealed later in the show, we have actually found one. As we go to the break, we can reveal Mark Bickley's replacement for next year. The handball grand finale coming up right after this.
What do you think of, what's his name, Daniel?
Junior. And Kate, where'd you get the name like Kate?
Not sure. I think he asked me this last time.
Lemon Kate. A good Jewish name, and Aaron Edwards, another Jewish name.
Just come via Jerusalem. But anyway,
Well, Will was good in the handball.
He will be. He will be very, very good.
We haven't done it yet.
And Cade, his mum and dad are happy with Cade, right?
Where's his mum and dad? They home at the moment?
Yeah, they'll be
You made a nice mess of that, mum.
All right, good on you, Lewis.
I'm a fan of his.
Oh, you've loved him.
I do. He's fantastic.
He's a big fan of yours too.
Well, that's nice, but you don't have to be, because I've got plenty of them, son.
Give him a round of applause. You have been outstanding again this year, Lewis.
I know.
I'll tell you what, and of course, you know, we talk about premierships. 1953 premiership captain. We tend to forget that, don't we?
You certainly do. And I kicked the first goal there, mate, for the grand final.
Yeah, anyway, no, you were.
Right from the boundary line.
Yeah, no, it's terrific, mate.
And I just said to the guy, Marcus, I'll be doing that all day, son. Take the day off.
All right, plenty of time to relive that in our little barbecue after the show, Lewis. But we've got the part 2 of the grand final handball edition. And when we last met them, Bill?
Nathan Foley was on 72 and Nathan Brown was on 69, Brian.
Roadblock
There it is there, 72 fouls. Now, Brownie's going up first, right or left, Brownie?
Okay, let's go. They can go whatever they want with. All right, Brownie. You're right.
Right.
Take your time, Brownie. 7.
Oh.
On the line's good. On the line's good.
76.
7.
83.
7.
90.
2 to come on this hand. Oh, he's really positioning himself. 7.
97.
Remember, if it's a draw, we come back next week.
1 to come. 7.
Right, 104.
And that one's a draw, we come in the week after.
Everything is fun. Get stuffed.
Hang on, have that one again.
No, he hasn't let it go yet.
He hasn't let it go yet.
72 he starts on.
That's what I said.
79.
7. 7.
93.
Mr. Consistency.
2 to come on the right.
7.
100.
7. And 7.
107. 104. This is it.
Oh, this is it.
Brian.
Come on, give him some encouragement,
On the left.
folks.
On the left. Needs a bullseye.
7.
111.
Very composed, Nathan Brown. 7.
$10,000 up for grabs.
10,000.
7.
125.
7.
132. Last one.
Need some.
And 7.
Oh, 139.
So what's the equation there, Bill?
139, 107, 32 to tie.
From 4 handballs, 5.
5 it'll be.
Who are you backing, Bill?
I'll go with the fold dog.
7.
114.
Oh.
5. Now, 119.
Brought a smile to the dial of Brown Dog. 7.
126, 2 to come. That is help. 1 to go, he needs 3.
3 to
3, he needs 3 for free.
All right.
For 10 grand.
Oh, there it is. Our winner for the handball for season 2008 from the Richmond Football Club is Nathan Foley. And Bill, what do you got for Nathan?
I've got 10,000 big ones. Look at that.
good.
Thanks to our friends at 4 and 20. $10,000 for you, mate. And $5,000 for you and Rainsy, Brown Dog.
Rainsy will get $1,000 of this.
Thanks, thanks to 4 and 20. You've been great sponsors.
They have. They've been
All right,
fantastic.
well, this has been the final edition, of course, for the Sunday Footy Show for this year. But as we bring all the people in from the floor, because it is Mark Bickley's final show. We've got a couple of makeup girls who are being a little bit shy. The makeup girls can come in.
Come on.
And Bix is heading over, of course, into the dark side. It is in the assistant coaching ranks with Adelaide. Bix, the past 5 years, you've been a voice of reason on this panel, so thanks very much, mate.
Thank you very much, Tony. Couldn't be an end of something without a lap of honour.
Well,
so
we'll do that in just a tick, but first of all, just want to thank all our production crew, both upstairs and downstairs, the panellists, of course, and of course, Lou, you.
Where's the star?
Exactly, couldn't have said it better myself. All right, so as we go out for season 2008, Mark Bickley does one more lap of honour. Bye for now.
Come on, Mark. Well done, Mark.
That's what I'm talking about!